It still says private, and I don't understand why.
Hmm. I was checking with my assistant. It's going to be watching. I didn't. And what? Oh, no.
Sorry, let me just I think I know how to fix this. Sorry to keep you waiting.
No, it's okay. Yeah, they forgot. Oh, well, we're only 3 minutes in. It's not bad.
Save to There is a setting. There we go. I think we're good, right?
You and I
Uh,
are.
okay, great. We are no longer private. People are finding their way back in, and we're back in business. Okay, let's start this for real.
Yay. That's
Hello and welcome to Story on the Spot. We always like to start off with like a little technical hiccup. It's really fun for everybody, and it makes us look really smart. So my name is Clark Huggins, and I am the creator of Reckless Deck and Reckless Deck Psyche, the tool that we're going to be using today to create a brand new story out of nothing, except what we come up with. And I have an amazing guest, Mr. Greg Manchess, who is really I feel strange saying celebrated illustrator, but I feel like that's kind of true, right? I mean, how does one refer to themselves when their work has really made an impact on illustration for like a couple of decades now?
wow. I could say that I'm celebrating still being alive and working. That's one thing.
Fair. I love it.
But
We'll
entering
take it.
the Hall of Fame is kind of has been a nice late development that keeps me thinking, well, now I can quit.
Yeah, so
How far you
you had
go?
just mentioned that right before we started. So Society of Illustrators Hall of Fame, is that what you were referring to?
Yeah, yeah,
Congratulations,
yeah.
that's fantastic.
Thanks, thanks. Yeah, this autumn. It's something I you don't think about along the way. You just keep
Okay.
working, you know. I didn't plan to do that. I didn't set out to do that. I just set out to try to do the best work I can. And it's awfully nice though. It makes you turn around and go, oh, wait, so you can't argue with me on what I'm teaching you, and I don't have to take any crap from anybody anymore.
Oh, well, that really changes my plan for this live stream, but okay. So I always like to start these by because I have such really interesting people with diverse backgrounds and careers
Hmm.
that there's two things I really want to talk to you about, and I want to try to not make it 45 minutes of just chatting with you, which is
Yeah,
always really easy to do
I
when
know.
I
We
get to hang out with you.
get carried
Um,
away.
the first thing is you have had some extremely cool jobs in your illustration career.
Yeah.
And I remember this back from the very first IMC, seeing your work, in your presentation and stuff. And I remember that pirate job. And
Yeah.
I just remember sitting there going like, I can't believe somebody got to do this for a job. That's
Yeah.
and
I
uh, and
know.
so I kind of wanted you to, if you could like just share with us and everybody, like what are some of your like your top three, your top five, like standout, extremely cool jobs that you got
Oh,
to
wow.
do.
Wow, that's tough because there's a lot of them. A small one that's really quite public and pretty big, but is still not seen by most people, except they see it, don't realize I worked on it, are the mission patches for the astronauts I've been doing. That's been really fun. And especially like calling up the astronauts and talking art, and hey, what are you
Wow.
doing? Oh, we're in the tank today. They're, in the swimming pool. It's mimicking zero gravity and
So
all
you're
this.
not talking to them like, like on the ISS about
I've done that actually.
what?
Yeah, yeah,
Seriously.
yeah. I'm not kidding. I was here working, my phone rang, my cell phone. I picked it up. I looked at the area code, didn't recognize it, put it back down. And like the next day, I got a email that said, "Hey, Greg, tried calling you from the space station. This is Hopper. He was one of the commanders on the
Oh my
thing."
God. So
I'm
all
like,
of those
"Whoa!" And I hung up on him. I just and so about a week later, phone rings, no warning. Picked it up, didn't recognize the area code, put it down. Hey, Greg, just thought, I got on my email right away. I said, I'm here. I'm here. Call me back.
wow.
About a half
So
hour later, phone rings. I hit the button and they're on the space station. They're in the cupola talking to me on my
wow.
cell phone. And it
That's
sounds like we're talking now. I mean,
that's incredible.
it's amazing. It wasn't like,
Yeah, like
no,
like
it was just crystal clear. And we spoke for about a half hour, just talking about art. And what are you over now? Oh, we're over Australia right now. I'm watching the sun
that's
come up. Now we're over, Africa. I'm watching thunderstorms, lightning cutting across the clouds. Incredible, so
that is incredible. So
yes.
everyone, everyone watching, just keep in mind that the next time you see that number that your cell phone says, potential spam,
That's right.
it could be astronauts.
Potential ISS. Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah. We laughed about that. I hung up on him twice. But other than that, the Pirates was a big job. But the next one that pops into mind was working with the Coen brothers on Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
That's so
Uh,
cool.
being able to, I mean, when I got that job, I asked the art director, so do I work for the Coen brothers or with the Coen brothers?
Oh,
And it turned out I was working with them. Art director ducked out and I was on my own working with the Coen brothers in their Tribeca place, editing room,
that's
down in
awesome.
their basement of their building. And I went down there and, there they are. I had to do everything I could not to gush, not to, bow down and not to be a fanboy and all that stuff and try to keep my cool. It worked, luckily, but not so fast because I screwed up the first appointment. I thought it was at 1 o'clock, and actually I opened my thing up on the calendar and it was at 10 a.m. And they called me at
Oh,
10:15 and said, "So you coming?" And I went, "Yeah,
oh my
one
God.
o'clock." And they went, "No."
Oh
Oh
man.
God. Hangs up on astronauts and shoves the Coen brothers in the corner. Great, brilliant.
Yep, yep.
Good
So
way to start a career.
I am definitely seeing a through line so far.
Right. Well, that pirate job, they contacted me and they said, "Hey, we want you to do 10 murals." And I said, "Wow, that's great. What's it on?" And they said, "Well, they found an actual pirate ship and they're going to do a whole show that goes around the country on the actual pirates by National Geographic." I was like, "I'm in. This is great. How much time do we have?" 12 weeks. I'm like, "Okay, I've got a month worth of work before I can even start."
Oh, I
So
didn't think of that.
now I'm down to 8 weeks. So I did 10 murals in 8 weeks. I was hustling. Luckily,
Wow.
four of them were just portraits, but the others were scenes full of 30, 40 people.
That's
Uh,
right.
I'm in a garage with all my art buddies in Portland, Oregon, and Tacoma, Washington, just putting on pirate hats and,
Shoot.
cardboard swords and all kinds of stuff. Just taking shots and trying to get reference. So I was doing thumbnails in the morning, getting OKs in the afternoon, penciling them in the evening, starting the next day on a painting, stopping, penciling, shooting reference, starting to paint. I mean, it was insane
Yeah,
for
which,
8 weeks.
and I feel like this is the moment where I want to transition into the other thing because I feel like it's like a perfect. I can think of another job you did where you created a really punishing schedule for yourself that lasted like almost a year.
Yeah. Timberline?
Yeah.
Yeah. Timberline. I thought, well, this is my book. I get to choose how much time it takes me to do. And they said, no, we need it by X date. And that was 11 months out. 11 months to do 123 paintings. And
That's insane.
yeah, that's what I thought. And I thought, well, here we go. So I dove in, and the first 3 months, I cranked out 49 paintings. And then and then I slowed down in April because I was a little dizzy. Then picked up again
I
and
needed a
just,
couple of weeks.
you know, yeah. And then I rocketed to November of that year. And as soon as I took the last paintings to the photographer, I had a cold, like instantaneously.
Yeah. Oh, sure,
Oh,
sure.
my throat feels funny. Boom, onto the
Yeah.
couch. Wasn't sick the whole year. But anyway, that that sort of deadline pressure was pretty much incredibly insane. I wasn't even sure I could do it. I had paintings all over the walls in Portland and in New York. So I'd have 20 to 30 paintings going all at one time. I'd walk over and put a little,
Oh, no way.
yeah,
Okay.
like today I'm doing ice. Oh, that needs a little something right
So
there,
you were just like assembly lining it across like all of these different paintings that had ice in them?
I thought I was, but mostly it turned out to be, well, today I'm going to do all faces. So I just did faces everywhere. Tomorrow I'll do all snow and backgrounds.
Okay.
And then this
So
day I'm going to do complicated stuff.
so what is in your evolution as an illustrator, right? You already had been, you were very well established in your career long before you thought of doing Timberline.
Yeah.
So what changed? What happened in your head to make you suddenly go, the painting, you didn't stop with the painting, but you're like, there's something more that I got to do here.
Yeah. Storytelling.
Yeah. So
Finally,
what
finally
happened?
realizing that I like to tell stories with my images. Going to art school in the 70s, which dates me like crazy, but was a time when you didn't learn how to draw and paint because they weren't teaching it, because it was all about conceptual art. And we're just going to sit around and think, which I kept thinking there's something wrong with that. There's something radically wrong with that. And but I kept going. So I was facing a lot of challenges along the way, a bunch of walls. First wall was you can't get a job out of school. Second wall was you can't freelance after that. And the third wall was you can't oil paint. And another wall, just wall after wall. Financial miseries and things that happened in my life and trying to work around. But the paint kept evolving because I always returned to the paint. And as long as I could return to the paint, things were calm, right? It
Mhm.
never failed me if I was engaged. And so far now, when I see it fail, I know it's me not paying attention. And then I just correct it anyway and keep moving. But the thing was, Timberline painting, that first painting was all about storytelling. And I realized that I was challenging people to read into the image all the time because I liked that. I didn't want to come up with these goofball fine art ideas. And they really are silly, like one guy I saw at the Whitney that had a camera tied to his waist and shooting his face, and he just rolled around the inside of the gallery along the wall, being emotional for a half an hour. And I mean, talk about wanting to blow your brains out. I mean, it's what? I mean, they should have blown his brains out. It was just, it's just, I don't care what kind of wording you add to that. There is no purpose for that in fine art or illustration or anything, even video did not work. But these are the things I've run into all my life, and I know I sound uneducated at this point, that I can't figure out fine art or whatever. No, it's an inside joke that they will not allow you to hear the punchline. You have to
I
make
hear
up your
that.
own punchline. And if you
I
make it
mean,
up and it's,
I've seen
sorry,
and done a lot of theater like that as well, where it's really just like it's there to kind of punish the audience a little bit,
yeah, yes,
where it's
yes.
not about, creating an experience and inviting them in, but actually like
We
pummeling them.
are we are testing your intellect and your taste and your knowledge, and if you don't pass,
Mhm.
there's the door.
And your patience,
Yeah,
right? Like,
absolutely. Yeah.
so, but again, like what went on for you when I remember you did a demo, like one of those DVD things while you were painting
Yes.
the Timberline painting.
Yeah, I sort of veered off of that. That's what I was going to get at. I did this DVD on how I paint, and before the film crew showed up at my door, I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't want to do another portrait. I thought that would be given into easy, I guess, So I wanted to do something difficult, but I only had 24 hours left to figure this thing out. And I was talking to Irene, and she had suggested I do a guy riding a polar bear because I like snow. And she's right. I do. I love painting snow. And I thought, not riding a polar bear, but polar bears are involved. And boom, that within hours I was onto that painting, modeling and pulling stuff out of my closet to put on. I had the pirate sword is in there, the whole deal. And
Hmm.
uh and then created curiosity in that enough for people to say, what the heck is going on with that guy?
Yeah,
And that's where I started to realize, oh, that's really what I love to do, is generate the questions. But I love to give answers to that. Not like it's the joke you can't understand. It's
got
the
it.
joke with a punchline.
Hmm.
That's how it's done. Anyway, but there's building curiosity through storytelling is fascinating to me. I see so many of the older illustrators that I admired all the time doing illustration that has just that moment you're looking for, that you can linger on, that you can savor and keep coming back to. I admire that. I love it. And I try to put it in my work.
You don't happen to, within arm's reach, have a copy of Timberline, do you? I meant to grab mine off the shelf before I started.
I used to. Uh, well, you're in luck. There's one right under me.
Fantastic. For those of you who are not aware, Greg wrote this really amazing illustrated novel called Above the Timberline.
And there it is.
There it is. And that came out in 2017.
2017. Very good, my man. And it's
Hmm.
full of full page,
Really bonkers art.
double page illustrations. I won't fold them all
No,
out
please
because,
do.
oh, okay.
I don't know how
Ha.
where it is. The one, oh, nice. The one of the Zeppelin and the sunset that's like slowly
Oh,
sailing
yeah,
away.
yeah. Yeah, let me get that one. I know where that one
Oh,
is. Unluckily, they didn't put page numbers on this stuff.
what?
No, there's
And
no page numbers.
yeah,
There you
wow.
go. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Killer.
There they are heading back off into the wilderness. And then what I did, maybe for people that don't know, I repainted the Timberline painting again, but
Did
added Linnea in there at the
um
very end. So that's
I
the last
did
painting.
I didn't know that you did the painting again. There is this new
Yeah.
invention called Photoshop. I'm not sure if you're aware. Next time, it
Ah,
might help you with that.
oh crap! I could have. Unbelievable. Why didn't I? No, I wanted real paintings. I wanted to have real paintings. So the original Timberline is not on this cover. This is repainted.
Get out of here.
This
I
is
didn't know
Timberline
that.
2. Yeah, the reason being is he's much, much younger. He's a 17-year-old. The guy in the original one has a mustache. He's about 38, something
Was
like
like
that.
the dad figure, right? In the
Yeah,
book.
yeah. And then there was an owl here. Now I put a falcon in there because I thought they're smarter than owls and they're cooler. So that's painting number 2. And then that one I just showed you there at the last is Timberline painting number 3. And we can, oops, I lost
I had
it.
no idea. Wow, this is like such a sort of
Yeah,
like
yeah,
behind the scenes
yeah, that's it.
story to find that out. That's wild.
So she's added in there. The bird
Okay.
isn't there,
Hmm.
and all the bears are doing the same stuff, and the background's the same. And yeah, and I kept thinking, am I going to get bored, doing that 3 times? And I didn't. There was nothing about this book that was boring.
That's
Ever.
great.
Nothing.
And what you managed to accomplish here, well, you accomplished a lot of things, but you created not just a story, but like a universe, sort of like, the Star Wars universe or like the Star Trek universe or the
Yeah.
Jurassic Park, it's not just a one and done. It is this open world that
Right.
you've made.
Yeah, it was world building that I didn't realize I was going to get into when I painted that piece, that original painting. So it started to fall into place as people asked me, who is that guy? Why is he with polar bears? I had the world, it was like going down through a crevasse, if you will,
Mm,
or a
good one.
tunnel,
Hmm.
cavern, and then having that thing open out into this world that I could start to go, oh, they're gonna have this and they're gonna have that and blah blah blah. And
That's
some people
wild.
would say, yeah, but the polar bear thing, that's Bill Pullman and or Philip Pullman and there were dirigibles in there. I'm like, yeah, a lot of this stuff came out of my 11-year-old child. I was
Yeah.
doing
Mhm.
polar bears in art school long before Philip was doing polar bears, and
Yeah.
airships is just something I've always adored. And I thought, nobody's going to print this book, so I'm just going to put in everything I love.
That's
All the
awesome.
monkey machines, all that crap, everything. I'm going to put in woolly mammoths and woolly rhinos, or if I can get mammoths in there, maybe Timberline too will have woolly mammoths.
Okay.
But I really believe that it's going to be a hard sell, and I'm just going to put everything that I love in there, and that's what I did. And then the world was being sculpted as it went.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even to the point where the airplanes and stuff, I put in biplanes. I just reworked everything to, like this red one here. I just decided that he was going to fly a GB racer,
Yeah,
but
it becomes almost like a crossover between like Victorian and steampunk and World War One, World War
exactly,
Two. Yeah, that's such a
exactly. And
cool
then I've
crossover.
finished the manuscript on my next book, which is all about griffins, whole other world, but these guys are fighting technology and
Right.
biplanes, and it's right
And
around World War One era.
and we have once before, in addition to being a really, really terrific mentor and a really good friend, Greg helped me out with what turned out to be the final dress rehearsal for doing these live streams. You and I got together probably about a year ago, and we didn't record it. It was just you and me, and we basically took your Timberline world and started to like Play-Doh it a little bit. Like we were like
Right.
poking at it and trying new things, and I was, developing how to do these and how does Psyche work in this way. And it was that session that we did that made me go like, okay, this is ready. we're ready to do this for real,
Oh,
because
that's good to hear.
that
That's
was
great.
really fun. It was like super fiery and creative.
Oh,
And I felt like
I got a story waiting to happen out of that.
yeah, and what we messed a little bit with like time. We messed with time in that one. I remember we were like, can we do this in the Timberline world? Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
It was sort of like
Yeah.
strapping like a little like M80 to a GI Joe and being like, let's see what happens here. No idea how this is gonna go.
I used to do that. Unbelievable.
Right. And so I want to do that again, and
Yeah.
this time I was proposing, where can we do can the Timberline world withstand or hold like the idea of magic?
Mm.
And you were like,
Mm.
possibly. And then I proposed that to you, and you said, but also survival. And I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, all right. So then I had those two variables, and I was like, choosing cards for this was really hard, and I had a lot of really exciting, like I had to make some painful cuts.
Oh.
But I feel like we're in a good place, and I want to just back up a moment to talk to our really excellent audience. We've got like 48 people hanging out with us right
Oh,
now.
wow.
Yeah,
That's
which is
great.
really great. Thank you guys very much for tuning in for this. I'm very
Cool.
excited that you guys are here. And this is the part that I stink at. Let me just say, if any of you could please like and subscribe, it would be amazing. It would really help out doing these things a great deal. And I'd love it if you did.
Yeah.
But what we're going to do here, I created a 8 category card idea generation system called Psyche, and it's based on the categories that I felt like were the most high yield for professional actors and professional authors. These were the areas that I felt like were going to give you the most mileage.
Cool.
And as you know, as a painter, it's not just about what you do; it's what you don't do. You
Yeah.
learn what not to do. What's going to be like a lot of effort with not a lot of takeaway from that.
Editing.
There are 8 categories, as I said. There are 4 of them that are universal to all characters in fiction. You can use them for any style, any time period. And then the other 4 are very, very specific to the time period.
Okay.
So, and there are different sets that you can sort of like swap in and out depending on the genre that you want to work in.
Mm.
And so I've put together from across a number of different sets a very Timberline specific
Cool.
bunch of stuff.
All right.
Um, I
I was
want to
gonna,
also just mention somebody is asking a question, and
yeah.
I'm gonna say, can we please answer it at the end, so we can get to the prompting. Or sorry, the idea generating. Right.
Yes.
Let's start
Yes.
to
Sounds
edit
good.
that word out of there. Because I think that this is really where the fun begins. So
So
I'm going.
I was going to
Yeah.
mention real quick about the magic thing.
Mhm.
I, I'm excited to see what we could do because the introduction of magic would be a very cool element in Timberline if it's like practical magic.
Yeah.
What I've always been fascinated about in my life that I'm coming to realize is that when you do something so well that it feels magical, that's more impressive than something that you're just given that say is magic. Like if you have to work for it and then it produces something that's magical. To me, that's wonderful. And that's what I tried to do with my career, and that's what I try to teach with my
All
students.
right. So now that you've said that, there is a card I have to go back and get. So let me just deal with that. Let me switch over the view so we can look at the cards as we choose them. This
Cool.
is a super, super fun part. And really everybody that's joined us, we would love to hear, like light up the chat with what you think, because it's really fun to hear what people think as we go through
The
the
discussion
cards.
is important. Yeah.
Yeah, yes. All right. So I'm gonna flip this around.
Oh,
And start a little play space. So the first,
that's
you
cool.
can start however you want with these cards, but for whatever reason, I find that it is really fun and useful to start with occupation. It's sort of like you've got this kind of guy who does this, and I feel like that will help us narrow where we are pretty
Okay.
quickly. Your first option, cartographer.
Oh, good option. Love that.
All right. Second option, inventor.
You're singing my songs there.
Okay. Number three, valet.
Ballet for the car?
No, no, no. Like, you ever see Downton Abbey? Like the guy who is like the sort of like dresser for the
Oh, yeah,
noble,
yeah.
for like the
Okay.
noble, like the person that is responsible for attending to the nobleman.
Yes, the oh yeah, like a Batman kind of thing. Not
Oh, like
the
an
Batman.
Alfred kind of like an Alfred
Yeah.
character. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
oh
exactly.
well, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So, potentially someone who is in service to the nobleman, uh,
Exactly.
and would be of low status, a lower status, but still
Mm,
would have a very inside look into like the machinations of whatever was going on.
mm.
And your fourth option,
Oh,
spy.
oh my God, we're done. It's right there. There it
But
is.
here's the interesting thing is when I pick this one, I feel like this does not preclude any of the other options. Like it could be any other option and this,
Yeah, that's true.
right?
Absolutely.
Um, so your next
So,
one is escape artist.
I get five to
Oh, I've got a sixth one for you too. I'm
no.
not gonna do that to you all the time, but I just couldn't. Again, it was really tough to narrow these down. And your last option is a daguerreotypist.
Whoa. Now, see, there's a little bit of the daguerreotype in Timberline. I don't
Is
know if
there?
I don't know if anybody here has read it, but there's a point at which he talks about finding a piece of glass, and there's a very faint uh, image on the glass, which is leads toward the device that he's searching for. Anyway, it's in the photo.
Did you paint it or did you grab a
No,
piece
I
of?
was going to expand on that. See, in like book two.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Nobody knows that. All these secrets coming out, you know.
Yeah, this is so fun. We could just talk about like all of your like behind the scenes uh cool
I
little stories.
yeah, I
So
did plan on mammoths in the second one, but anyway, go ahead.
because you asked, you wanted to do survival, I picked choices that were not really tied to the city so much or tied into a location. That I felt like these were all occupations that could travel,
Mm, yeah. Ooh, right. Okay.
right? But it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be that. It can be whatever you want it to be. But I did
Right.
feel like, if there was any kind of an expedition or whatever that involved noblemen, that his valet would probably go with him to
Okay.
keep track of all his stuff. And
Oh yeah,
it might
yeah.
be a guy with a camera who would go along, and be like the official photographer person for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was that guy that went with South guy, the explorer on the Endurance. Yeah.
On the
Ah,
endurance.
yeah. His
Um,
name went out of my head. But anyway, they had a photographer on that
okay.
expedition, and they managed to save like about 50 of his glass plates. And that's all the photography that we have of that
Wow.
expedition.
Well, 50's, consider.
Shackleton. Shackleton.
Oh, of course. Of
Yeah.
course.
So at this stage though, we're gonna pick one, maybe two of these.
Yeah, a lot of votes for spy, a lot of votes for daguerreotype, inventor,
Mm,
cartographer seem to be the,
mm.
the 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 greatest hits so far. Um, and I felt like
So,
escape artist could be like, like some sort of entertainment. Like if it was a traveling Houdini type show that,
oh, see, I was going the other way on that. Escape artist meaning kind of like a MacGyver type.
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it
Oh, I
is
didn't
kind
even
of
think of
cool.
that.
Well, he survives by his wits, and you just can't know everything, and you've got to be able to, much like the illustrators out there, you have to be able to solve some things along the way as you go. You know, I don't want to get long-winded on this, but I've been trying to, which is partly what I do, I guess, trying to get the students to understand they must experience first before they go get the information. A lot of us, and myself included, you start out, you think, I'll gather all this info and then I'll be ready to make pictures and I'll be ready to express. It doesn't work like that, because by the time you get all that information, confusion sets in, you don't think you have enough, you delay whatever you're doing. It's time to experience the paint and laying things out and designing, even when you don't know what you're doing, because then you'll know how to go search for that. You'll know what you're coming up with. That didn't make sense. You'll know what you're in search of by
Okay.
feeling it first. So
Very
that fits for the escape artist. Spy is kind of a given to
Oh,
me.
nuts. Okay. So
Yeah,
all of you in the chat that were sweating that one, Spy is in.
yeah. I just, I grew up with a man from Uncle, so
That's
it's
great. So you want to give him a cover? What's it, or he or she a
yeah,
cover?
yeah. I think a cover would be great. And interesting thing. So I'm torn between inventor, escape artist, cartographer.
Okay.
And I'm leaning toward cartographer,
Oh, right.
because I think the last time we did something, Clark, we did inventor.
Oh, did we? I couldn't
Yeah.
remember what cards I'd given you, and I felt really I didn't want
Yeah.
to give you the same ones again.
No, I meant to look it up before and I forgot.
Okay. All right.
But
Well,
it's all right.
I
It's all
love
right.
this. We're in, and I think that the chat can now breathe a sigh of relief. Uh,
Hopefully people are behind that.
all right. Very cool. All right. Well, we didn't lose anybody.
And
Nobody
also
dropped
that,
out of
yeah,
rage.
they could also write in and say, no, you got to do daguerreotype because,
Oh, no, they seem happy. Um, so then we're gonna do what they want, right? Their motivation
Oh
is
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
next thing that we find out about them.
Motivation.
This is the thing that drives them through their story. To cement their place in history is your first option.
To
To
cement their
become
place in
capable of
history.
defending themselves or others.
See, Timberline started with to cement their place in history.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I mean, you could definitely look at it that way. Or at least the father figure, right? Or
Yeah. To
what was his
escape
name? The character's name?
Singleton, Galen Singleton.
Got it.
It sounded like Shackleton, only different.
That's a good choice. To learn their own origin.
Oh,
Uh,
escape responsibility. Wow.
yep. And then lastly, to recover something that was lost.
Oh, well, I mean, that's a Timberline world there.
That's
Become
true.
capable of defending themselves or others. That's my martial arts background there.
Oh, that's a very cool reason to want to go in that direction.
Yeah. Now, so this is the motivation for the character of the spy cartographer, correct?
Mhm. Yes, why they are the driving force that propels them through the story.
So a spy would need to, be able to defend themselves, but we would almost expect them to have that skill going in.
I mean, if they ever didn't have that skill, and then that was what drove them into becoming, into their position, I
Yeah,
feel like that memory will stay with them, what it feels like to not be able to protect yourself or not have power.
right,
And, there could also be a sense of, wanting to protect others to make sure that no one else has to feel that way
right.
or to
With
lose loved ones to someone more powerful or some other force that's more powerful than themselves.
Yeah, I love that. You know the one that scares me the most though?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, to learn their own origin. That scares me
Nice.
because I'm
Okay.
not sure what that would mean.
Okay.
And for a cartographer to have a background as a spy kind of fits with that, to learn their origin. It's map-like. They're
Oh, I see.
discover.
So they're missing a piece of their own map almost.
Ooh, yeah, ooh, that's good too.
Cool, cool. All right. It's
Okay.
getting hot. It's getting hot. All right. The next thing we're going to do, and let's try to rock through these pretty quickly, is strengths and flaws. Strengths are the things that really help the character move through their world, and their flaws are things that really hang them up and get in their way.
Yeah. You know, it really helps that you are an actor to be able to
Yeah, I couldn't have
understand.
done this. I couldn't have made this without, for those of you who don't know, was a professional actor for 13 years and got my master's degree in acting. And it was that
Wow.
training that led me to be able to do this system. And I couldn't have done it without it. And when
Wow.
people started asking for this system, at conventions and shows, they're like, "Oh, I love your original Reckless deck, the one that is all visual, to draw from or to create characters visually." But they were like, "Do you have anything that can do this for the character's mind?"
Nice. Yeah.
And I was like, I feel like I am uniquely positioned to do to make
I
that
was,
happen.
I was going to say you probably went bingo on
Yeah,
that one.
I really couldn't not do it at that point.
Wow. All
So,
right.
so these are your strengths. So far, we've got present, able to live in the moment and bring their entire focus to a person or a situation.
Ooh.
Or passionate, full of enthusiasm, conviction, and commitment to their profession or cause or
Well,
person.
was an artist and writer, passionate is appealing, but being present is what I'm constantly uh, preaching about, so to speak,
Yeah,
with
it's not an easy thing to
illustration.
do.
Yeah.
Composed, even-tempered, cool and calm under pressure.
Mm.
Or
Yeah.
they are just, possesses an innate sense of fairness and impartiality.
Mm. Wow. Okay. So this is strengths.
Yes, yes.
Let's see. Able to live in the moment and bring their entire focus to a person. That's kind of tough to get across, except in writing, seems like. So, and I'm kind of looking at this as a writing
Yeah,
visual
definitely.
thing. Possesses an innate sense of fairness. We would get that through their speech. Composed, even-tempered, cool, and calm under pressure. That's probably part of the spy training.
Hmm.
And passionate might be the cartographer in it, commitment to finding their way in the world. But I'm going to go with present
Cool. Okay. I did not see that coming.
because
All right.
that's it's dear to my heart on that one.
Okay.
Painting is about being in the moment and holding that moment for as long as you can, not only in the image, but in your work as an artist, to stay in the moment, to watch what's going down and how it affects everything as it goes down and how you're going to paint into your next hour future or days of future and how much you're going to leave to nothingness. So what you leave in, what you leave
Mhm.
out, all that is constant moment to moment awareness, I think.
That sounds amazing. And these flaws are going to sound extra crummy after following what you just said. So the first one is anxious, overcome with worry about unknown threats and situations with uncertain outcomes.
Wow, that's my life right now.
Total other direction, manipulative, discreetly maneuvers others into positions or opinions that suit their purposes.
Ooh. Hmm. Hmm. Defensive.
Defensive, perceives personal attacks and criticism or differences of opinion.
That's good.
And the last one is entitled, believes they have an innate right to status, wealth, or recognition that supersedes others.
Oh, you're killing me.
That's what I'm here for.
Um, I don't like anxious.
Okay.
It kind of scares me, but it scares me. You see, that's become a thing like lately is like the things that scare us are the things we maybe need to move toward.
Hmm.
Manipulative seems very manipulative. sort of crummy.
Yeah.
And entitled, we've got enough of that in the government right now, I think, and
Good one.
billionaires and all those guys. So I'm honing in on defensive,
Okay.
you know, because that you can sort of sculpt, you can work with it. They can be
Oh, and
defensive in a good way and in a bad way.
right. Okay.
They can be defensive and get themselves in trouble, or they can be defensive and get themselves through something that they didn't know was going to turn out hopefully well, or might turn out very badly for a while. That sort of thing. That's what I'm thinking.
All right. This is great. And next is a given circumstance. This category is the last of the categories that are that are the
Okay.
universal categories.
Yeah.
First one is grieving the loss of a loved one.
Oh, that's always a big one.
Yeah,
Well,
it really colors everything, right?
yeah, I mean, it's a big one for me because I lost my dad when I was pretty young. I mean,
Okay.
I was
Oh,
22, and so and Timberline is also sort of about losing your dad if you're a guy, you know?
yes, sure, it sure is.
So,
Okay. So and you've got others, right? So that one landed hard. But we also have is a skilled driver or pilot.
oh God, you're killing me. Pilot, come on.
Let's
Has nightmares or night terrors? Whoa. Financially dire circumstances. Okay. Just the four?
just the four, yes.
Okay, good, because I was getting worried. Um, uh, phew. So, okay. Uh, Financially dire circumstances is a prime motivator for a lot of characters because some people will dive in when they're financially challenged. So one of the first things I did when went to freelance as an illustrator, starting out, Dum Dum here went out and bought a brand new CJ5 Jeep, firecracker red. I love that thing.
Wow.
And that
Bold
committed me,
choice.
yeah, it committed me to $500 monthly payments for like 3 years. And I don't know what I was thinking. I kept thinking, well, I'll put a blade on the front of that thing and I'll shovel people's driveways with snow. I was in Illinois at the time.
Okay.
Anyway, it just don't do that if you go to freelance. But that was a motivation.
I want to let you know that there seems to be a lot of support for night terrors in the chat.
Well, that one really. See now, nightmares and stuff. As much as I hate them and stuff, I hate reading about them. Yeah, but lately I've been listening to more and more people's dreams. Like somebody will tell you, I had this weird dream about you, and
Okay.
they go on and there's a lot of interest in there about, who's telling the story and what that effect had on them and all that. That's kind of fascinating. Night
Also
terrors. Now,
seems to be
clarify.
a character that has built himself up or herself into being a very capable person. Like
Hmm.
they've got a lot of skills, and seem to be really about you know answering big questions like the map making, going out and finding the answers,
Hmm.
and the nightmares puts that on such a sort of like wobbly precipice, like there's
Mm.
almost like a need to go out and keep driving for the capability or the
Right.
command of the situation, because inside there is this
Mm.
a sense of almost like a lack of control or helplessness that
Right. Right. Clarify night terrors for me. Is that like anxiety attack kind of thing,
I
or?
think a night terror is I think that it's like when your body locks up. I think
Oh.
that it's when you're experiencing a dream and like your body, like you wake up but your body is still like frozen, Does anyone
Oh,
in the chat want to clarify what's up with night terrors? I believe when I wrote the card, I looked it up, and I think it was that your body actually um, doesn't respond
wow.
to you.
I've had that happen a few times where I fell asleep. I was supposed to be kind of watching for something, and I remember dreaming that someone was coming toward me, and I had my hand like this, and I was trying to, like, I was awake, but I could not get myself to move.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
terrifying.
That's what the chat is saying, that it's like sleep paralysis and you see images in the room. It's when your dream actually shows up as a hallucination.
Ooh, yuck,
So it sounds like
yuck.
it's like your dream follows you into the waking world.
Wow. And I grew up in a house that has some strange things going on in there.
Okay, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't, we get people say, hey, start talking about ghost stories, and then I tell them mine. They're like, that's weird. So,
Thanks, bye.
grieving the loss of a loved one, like I said, that's pretty tough. Is a skilled driver or pilot? I mean, that's almost an easy one for the
Yeah,
Timberline world. So
there's nothing stopping us from doing, to doing that.
oh, okay. Yeah. Whoa. We could go with the audience on that one if
Okay.
they're like
Uh,
pushing the night terrors because, well, it does remind me of if anybody's has seen Firefox, the movie. I read the book a couple of times, but in there he's debilitated by nightmares from Vietnam, fighting in Vietnam, fire and stuff like that, and so this could be something from the world of Timberline, an animal, a landscape thing like an ice flow or avalanche that could set something off that the character revisits in their dreams,
oh, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Or it could be a family member that's constantly dogging them, could be a villain that's dogging them.
Yeah, I think that we will when we get to the next three categories. We have three more to go. And we should,
Okay.
let's get into them. This is where we really learn the most about our characters' world. Like the everything we've done so far really deals with them inside themselves.
Okay.
And now these next categories, as we finish this part up, will really tell us about what's the world around them.
Ah,
So your next category is secrets.
whoa.
And you have first one is in their travels, they discovered a hidden paradise rich in natural resources.
Discovered a hidden paradise. Whoa. See, yeah, a little bit of Timberline there. Oh, that's what it was supposed to be.
They are the hidden descendant of the deposed rightful royal family.
Oh. Hmm.
Uh, Creates sentient clockwork mechs of animals that serve as companions or weapons.
This is where the magic comes in.
Potentially, yeah. Or somebody
Practical
like that
magic.
very MacGyver-y thing where like along the way, like their special hook is that they like build these things, to like accompany them on the mission, or maybe he builds them in situations that like, oh, I need to go scout what's over there. So but I'm quickly like whammy myself like a clockwork owl together
Hmm.
and then like go send it off, and it depends
Whoa,
on like
yeah.
you said,
Yeah.
push
No,
and
it's just
pull.
my head's going there. I love the idea of a robot-like character,
Uh-huh.
Data and all those guys,
Yeah, yes.
Martha Wells, Murderbot, that people love that kind of character because it's almost uncanny valley. Like they're so close to human, but not quite there. And we empathize with trying to coach them over the valley, right? To become more,
That is so true. There is this
yeah,
incredible like yearning on the part of the audience to help them across that divide. That's
yeah,
that's that's so
it's
true.
it's very cool.
Last one is pretty weird. Drinking
Okay.
absinthe brings them visitations by the actual green fairy. a supernatural seductress who goads them and encourages their worst impulses.
Whoa. That's
Yeah, well, you know about like Absinthe and the Green Fairy, right? That like that thing that they used to the character that they used to sell absinthe with, and they used to
oh,
say in the 19th century, like all the absinthe drinkers, they were drinking all that absinthe, trying to get to a certain like place in their head, and they would say that that was like when the Green Fairy came.
wow.
If you look at any of the ads, like all those old absinthe ads, they have
Mhm.
this woman who's green, this like green woman, and she was
Huh.
the Green Fairy, and it was
Whoa.
the personification of the like the high or the drunkenness of that absinthe state. And
Mm.
so in this card, I just made her like a real character, like an actual
That's oh, now I can
spiritual
see
being.
her.
Yeah.
I can just make her out. That's very cool.
In a lot of ways, I just thought of this. She's kind of like a reverse genie, or like a reverse Jiminy Cricket. Like instead of this character that like pops in to like keep you on the rails, she's almost like the character that pops in to get you to like take you off the rails.
Wow. Because that would take it in definitely a different direction, but also could be part of the night terrors and
Yeah, somebody in the
the
chat just
nightmare.
says that they drink the absinthe to try and forget the night terrors.
Yeah, that makes sense. Have you ever had absinthe?
No, I never have.
I tried it with it. Boy, that is some tasty licorice-like
Oh,
stuff.
really? Okay.
I could see why folks loved it, but also it hits your mouth like the most intense like candy you've ever had, and you just know it's bad. You can't be drinking this too much.
No, it's bad.
Yeah, a friend of mine drank a little bit, and there was a little left, and he said, "Watch this," and he tossed it in the fireplace, and I mean, just
Oh,
flames
that's
came
killer.
out of it.
That's your painting right there.
Oh God, yeah, green flames,
Uh-huh.
wild. Anyway, um, I'm um, I'm intrigued by her to add the magic thing, but I can't get away from the sentient clockwork creature.
All right. Why don't we
Now,
float them
what were
both
the other
through
two on the top?
oh, the is the right
Just
is a rightful heir of the someone of the royal family, the DeBose royal
okay,
family.
and they
Uh
are hidden descendants
yeah,
of the
hidden descendant of
supposed
the
rightful royal family.
and the other one was the hidden
Yeah.
paradise rich in resources, which it sounds like
Oh,
you
oh,
already covered in Timberland.
yes. Yeah, I think these separate enough out away from that, right? And then Wes is going to find out he's actually a boy king, and he has to pull a clockwork out of a rock. Yeah. No, I don't think so.
No,
Oh, I got to decide one of these, right?
no, I think that we can like I said, I think that we can let them both kind of like we can float them both for a while.
Oh, okay.
And we'll
Let's float
see
them.
if they both can live together in harmony,
Okay,
or or if one just sort of drops away as we go forward with the story.
cool.
Two more categories, and then we're into full creation mode.
I just realized I should put promo stuff on the bottom of my cup when I
That's
drink,
such
so
a
which
like you could put a painting behind you, right?
yeah,
And then on the
that's right.
back of the bottom of the cup, you can put the price. You could just be like,
Yeah,
oh, it's only
yeah, well,
$2.99.
or I could put the
Right
mission
now.
patches on there.
Oh, that's cool. I would buy that
Each
cup.
time I set it down, I get a different patch. Yeah.
But each time
Anyway.
you want to see the painting, you spill your coffee all over yourself.
Okay.
All right. So your next category is formative events. This is something that happened to them in their past that had a very outsized impression or on who they've become in the present.
Okay.
All right. Your first one is, oh, okay, this is a weird one. As a child, they got lost in the woods overnight and saw things they aren't sure were real or just terror-fueled imaginings. So
Actually happened.
that is really, and again with the night terrors thing, it's a little off the map, but let's keep going and see what you think of that one.
Okay.
Had a passionate affair with someone years ago who has now become their fiercest rival.
Dude, that's a heavy duty one. Passion president who has now become their fiercest rival. Ooh,
Was cut off from their powerful family's fortune and protection.
always a good one.
Awesome. And your last one is got into a very public disagreement with a famed explorer with powerful backers, which has evolved into a lifelong feud.
Oh, I mean, that's your story right there, you know.
Great. Okay, we'll wrap it
up. I mean, you got it all right in the card there.
That is, that is kind of the point.
Oh
But it
my
is really
goodness.
all about, I mean, all of these prompts are standardized, like
Yeah,
buy a set, you get these cards. But really what ends up happening is it's always all about the connective tissue between the cards,
yeah.
and it's never the same.
I can see how these are going to be very popular,
That's
Clark,
awesome. That's
because
great.
I mean, you could just you pull tropes of story plotting and character and all that, and people are just going to eat that alive, I would think. Which, by the way, I think this is a good time to say I'm loving your backgrounds on these cards.
Thank you very much.
You
Thank
did
you.
those, right?
I did, yes.
Yeah, very cool. All
When I
right.
did them, I wanted them to be almost like mental landscapes. Like I wanted to, like if you could fly a tiny ship through somebody's subconscious, like I wanted them to
Wow.
be like, this is what, these are the sort of like the worlds that you would go to, or like the game maps that you would see in the game of this person's inner life.
Mm, mm. So, um, had a passionate affair
Yep.
is good. Got into a very public disagreement. It doesn't have to stay with a famed explorer, right?
No, not at all. You go wherever
Okay.
you want it to go.
So a passionate disagreement with the powerful backers is the lifetime feud thing fascinates me. I don't know if you saw the movie The
The
Duelist.
Duelists, I was just gonna say, have you ever
Yeah.
seen The Duelists? Yeah.
Yeah, God, that's incredible. And you
That is
just
a
you know the whole time, if they just put it away, just put it away,
mhm.
just give up trying to prove something, it would all be much better for everybody. But no. And then the other one is Lifelong Feud was it just went out of my head. Anyway, yeah. There's a lot of lifelong. Oh, the Hatfields and McCoys, being
Oh,
from
sure, yeah.
Kentucky
That's right.
is
These are your people, right?
part of my background. Yeah, I don't even know their story. I do know that I think it was over a girl, but I'm not sure. Anyway,
Someone in the chat just mentioned that they like the idea of the public disagreement that could have them blacklisted. And in a lot of ways, that would
yeah,
cover this, like,
exactly. I was
yeah.
just gonna
So,
say, yeah,
so like we would get like the
yeah,
same effect of them suddenly being, just like we had that prompt that was like financially dire circumstances, no matter what their social status was, this could
right.
really put the squeeze on them in terms of their career or their prospects or their finances.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm starting to see that the one on the bottom there could blend with the upper left. So the
Upper left being,
disagreement could be
oh, okay.
right there. Those two can blend. I think
Yeah, okay.
the other one is out, yeah, for now. So this disagreement could be with a former of passionate affair lover that has powerful backers and then becomes that lifelong feud, you know what I mean?
Oh, yes. Okay. I love that. The
Yeah.
only other thing that I would propose, because that absolutely is great, but the other option is that potentially the explorer figure or whatever, then the lover who is turned rival, they team up and become like a bad guy team of the two of them up against your hero. You can blend them into one character, or you could actually make yeah,
Mm,
like a bad guy pairing out of them.
yeah. It becomes a kind of a love hate, love hate. Okay,
Yeah,
and
and
then
you
love.
almost like you could, you have your hero or your protagonist on one side, you had the enemy on the other side, and the lover turned rival would be in the middle, kind of like ping-ponging back and forth between the two of them.
Always good to put somebody in the middle of a triad,
Oh,
right?
that's okay. Okay, great. All right.
It's all that tension too, that we love and hate in a story, right? We're like, oh, the setup is so great. Oh, no, wait, no, they can't hate each other. All right, I'm gonna get through it. I'm gonna get through it, you know.
Yeah, it's amazing how when when you write how much you have to hurt your characters. Like the
Ah,
whole process is just about like kicking the crap out of them, really.
yeah, yeah. I mean, when I was thinking about Wes all the time for Timberline,
Hmm.
I beat him up as much as I could. I always made him go through something he didn't want to go through and didn't like and whatever. And it was so much fun.
It's really fun. So we got one more category, and that is inciting incidents. This is what has just happened to our character to set them on the journey of their story.
Mm.
Um, First one, interesting. Okay, I might have said we could have done without that one, but at this point, I feel like we covered this one. Attractive and captivating stranger joins their community, and by community, I mean like it could be their exploring party or their, whatever the kind of
Hmm.
whatever group they're traveling with. Aren't convinced of
Trustworthy.
their trustworthiness.
See, that could provide tension to
Mhm.
the love-hate relationship too.
And there's some really powerful women in this story so far. So we've
Yeah,
got the lover
absolutely.
turned rival. We've got the Green Fairy, right? And I imagine she would be an extremely dynamic and cool character.
And the Green Fairy could be a little jealous.
Yeah. Oh, wow. It's getting really good. Must steal the plans for the newest weapon design of famed gunsmith Samuel Pomeroy Colt.
Wow. Did we read the one in the upper right as part of an expedition into the jungle?
Sorry.
Yeah.
As part of an expedition into the jungle, their party stumbles on a hidden temple that seems to be having a strange effect on some of the others.
Oh, there we get a little magic stuff in there too. But I love a good lost temple,
Right?
a hidden one, especially one that's hidden, Ah, that's what spurred Timberline in the first place, something hidden like that you go find, and when you find it, you just yeah, it plays with your mind.
Yeah, no, people complain about stories that are based on like MacGuffins. They call them MacGuffins, where they're
Hmm.
chasing after a thing. I
Hmm.
love stories about chasing after a thing. You know,
Yeah, that's why I threw a device in Timberline because I love having the thing that
right, right.
led to the lost thing.
I'm right there with you. I love a thing that leads, like you gotta take the thing with the staff of Ra, go down in the map room, certain time of day. The thing
That's
helps you find the other thing. Love it.
so great. It's so great. Even though I'm watching that whole thing with the map room and I'm thinking, never happened. Never happened. I don't care. It's so cool. Anyway.
All right, so I think we have one more of these. They were forced to land. This is a sci-fi card, okay? So you
Hmm.
have to do a little mental jujitsu here. They were forced to land their vessel on a planet, and I would say like more like in a place or in a location
Hmm.
filled where the flora and fauna are both filled with aggressive, lethal life forms.
Now, is this mostly a Timberline world? Are we thinking?
Yeah, yes, it should
Okay.
be. I mean, it shouldn't necessarily have the pressure of being like this is gonna be your next novel, and there's no two ways about
Oh,
it.
absolutely. Right. Yeah.
So it should be playtime.
But
But I,
this that could be Timberline in space,
the the idea was definitely to create something that would live in your world.
Yeah. Now I have been toying with the animal that hasn't been seen. The animal that was extinct and nobody remembered it, but it's back
Oh, that's
and
I had cards that had like that kind of animal, and they didn't make the cut. So I think that's great if you're thinking that way.
Yeah, yeah. But that wouldn't be the main thing here, I think. Inciting incidents. I'm drawn to the attractive and captivating stranger. Must steal the plans for the gunsmith.
This
Hmm.
is so like as a spy, this is such a sort of it's almost like you could, and we have really done a good job of Voltroning cards together in this session, more so than any other one of these that I've ever done. Um,
Mm.
we've got the attractive and captivating stranger, and we've got a gun,
Hmm.
and it could be, like a very steampunky weapon, with a made by the historical figure. Did you know Samuel Pomeroy Colt is buried in my hometown?
No, really?
Yeah,
Whoa.
Bristol, Rhode Island. He's buried. He's got his
Oh my goodness.
and so yeah, he created the Colt 45.
Well, yeah. I
And
mean, the one
so
that sort of, upended Western history.
yeah, yeah, like him in Winchester, right?
Yeah, that's right. And the thing that also upended mechanical history, it was right here in the town I'm in. The ball bearing
Oh
was
wow.
invented here.
Oh, that's wild.
Isn't that crazy? There's a little monument on a sidewalk. Anyway, but I'm
Uh
sure he probably had to steal the plans for the ball bearing from some special attractive and captivating stranger. Or aliens came down and gave it to him. I will steer away from the hidden temple this time, although I
okay.
love that. I'm going to steer away from it now because it's sort of like the lost city thing. And I think we're going with the two that you have up there.
All right.
Do we blend them or I have to go one or the other?
No, I think that we can keep them both for now. We've done it several times already.
All right.
And all right, I'm gonna switch my view back over again.
Okay. This is where we start to put it together.
And you know what's really making warm in my little heart here is we are keeping our audience. They're staying with us. I'm really excited about that.
The
Thank you guys
48.
for thanks. Well, we're down a little bit from 48, but we still got a
Oh,
great crowd.
few people went, oh my God, it's those two. We're out of here. Mm, you've been writing them down. Very nice. I didn't do
Yes.
that. I just wrote all the cards,
Yes.
character, motivation, strength, flaws.
That's what I'm here for. Um, so we've got a cartographer spy, right? For anybody that missed the beginning, these are our choices that we went through the card.
This is
Yes.
where I compliment you on your handwriting.
Oh, thank you. Right
Yeah,
on.
good. Nice.
Um, I learned this kind of this style of writing when I was like 9 or so, looking at the design drawings, the concept art for like Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back.
Ah,
When the artists would write the little names of like, oh, this is the so and so droid or
absolutely.
whatever, I was like, I want to write like that.
Ah, me too.
And so it's definitely morphed into something weirder since then, but that's where I started this from. So
Wow.
we've got a cartographer, spy, searching for their own origin. They are very present in what they do from moment to moment, but they're a little prickly, right? They're a little
Yeah,
defensive.
right.
Um, they are a skilled pilot, but they suffer from night terrors.
Always bad when you're flying.
That's a bad combination. They've got a special little MacGyver skill where they build clockwork animals, potentially like build them quickly on the fly, or maybe they
Mm.
build them and then like bring a menagerie with them, or maybe there's just one. I don't know. We'll talk about that.
They also might have a sentient map.
What?
Yeah, think about it.
Did you
This
just come up with that right now?
absolutely, absolutely. As soon as you
Whoa!
said that, it just popped into my mind. Here's this mechanical map that stuff moves around, and oh my
Holy
goodness.
crap, that's fantastic.
And it would tell you stuff. Oh my God. Little cards would flip up.
Oh my, that's incredible. So it's almost like the sort of steampunk version of Alexa.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. You got to give it a name.
Alexa, play me Rolling
Absolutely.
Stones.
Right. Hey, Barbara,
Yeah.
tell me where I can find the hidden pistol
Yeah, yep. Show me where the
thing.
plans are.
Yeah. And we are
So
down to Green Ferry.
yeah, we've and our cartographer also had to get away from the night terrors, is an absinthe drinker and is visited by the actual Green Fairy as a like an actual entity, as a creature or a character.
Whoa.
Um, they've had a passionate affair in the past, and their lover has become their fiercest rival, who is now, and they've had a big falling out, very public dispute. Well, I'm still calling it an explorer, but it could be anything. It could be a business tycoon. It could be a
Yeah.
someone
Yeah.
who
It's
finances exploration. It could be,
exactly. It could be,
some kind of an inventor of science or
well, I was just gonna say, yeah, an inventor who's jealous but isn't quite as smart as our character and is trying to horn in on.
Oh, the chat is a little en fuego right now. I just wanted to, somebody wants to know if the map has the potential to be a double agent.
Oh, great. The map revolts against the guy.
Like we said, we gotta hurt our good guy, right?
Mm.
We gotta hurt our protagonist. And I just wanna, this could be this map, which you would think would be like your R2D2, like your trusted buddy, could turn out to not have your back.
Well, actually, it could be the map could be found by the rival and sort of reprogrammed to throw this guy off
Oh my, okay,
so
wow.
that, you know, he doesn't, after a while, he or she starts wondering, wait a minute, how come this doesn't work? Or why am I going here? And the rival tends to always know where they are. Hmm. Smiley face. Very
No,
nice.
that's more of an eek
Oh, it's
face.
an eek. Oh, eek. Nice.
So
Uh,
that potentially happens. So maybe
okay.
it's not on purpose. The map is falls victim to getting, because I mean data was always getting, reprogrammed and hacked into, two things you want
Right.
to, if you were flying that enterprise, the two things you want to get rid of are a holodeck and data, because those things were just like,
That's right. You never went in looking for the absinthe in 10 forward. You're gonna hit data.
yeah, the weekly traps. Just who's gonna take control of data this week? So then we've got so we've got a captivating stranger. In addition to the lover turned rival, we've got a you
Oh
ever
yeah.
watch the Mission Impossible movies
Oh yeah. Yeah.
like
I've
that?
avoided them and then I started
Yeah, me
watching them and
too. And I
realized
feel like, what is her name? Jessica Ferguson, is that right?
you got
She
me
was in
on that one.
Dune also. I think that's her name. And she
Oh,
plays
oh,
that other agent that is kind of on their team and kind of not.
yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like that absolutely could be what this captivating stranger's role is. Is she trustworthy? Isn't she? She's got her own agenda. She could be an ally. So the two of them could pair up, our hero
Yeah.
cartographer and this, X Factor other agent could make a team. The
X Factor
lover,
is a good way to talk about that. It's
the
like a
lover and the rival and the the business person or the explorer could be, on the other team.
mhm,
So there's a lot of potential for shifting alliances there. Um,
absolutely. Yeah.
Especially on the part of the lover and the rival, maybe the stranger. I mean, there's always the possibility that we think that she's on our team and she turns out to be like, and we've always got our eye on the ex-lover as being the bad one, right?
Yeah, and I gotta say that, it would be fun to learn that the bad lover rival has to find a way to suddenly come back onto, or after a long route, to find their way back to the character
Yeah, like a
in their good
redemption
faith.
arc for her, right?
Right, a redemption arc, that's it. And how would that happen? And then the stranger that we trust and get used to sort of flips roles, goes
Yeah.
the other way.
Okay. So yeah, there's a lot of role reversal, a lot of potential for intrigue and
Right.
double crossing. This would be a very exciting story. You
It's
know, like you
so
really
far
would
so
just
good. Yeah.
be like
Yeah.
twist. No,
It-
twist.
It's a thriller.
Yeah, yeah.
And actually that potential new stranger could be the one that is in there twisting the sentient map to, you know, or all of any of or all of his sentient creations or whatever that
Oh,
help
that
him
too. Oh my God,
explore.
right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So like really they kind of have a target on their back as well.
Yeah.
And it'd be really interesting of these really dynamic women characters, right?
Hmm.
Which ones the Green Fairy approves of and which ones she does not. You know, who's
Right.
team, you know, is
And
she
the
like Team Edward or Team Jacob here? Where's the Green Fairy?
right. And the Green Fairy is always right, but the main character doesn't believe that.
Oh, that's cool.
Gets him or her in trouble all
Okay.
the time. Um, and I had another thought about the lover rival. Is that ultimately they can't stand that the sentient beings get manipulated. It could be the one thing that brings them
Oh,
full
okay.
circle.
So the rival has a real soft spot for the
Yeah,
clockwork.
which is a fault to them that they try to avoid, but really can't, if that makes sense. You're a lefty. I just
Oh yeah,
realized that.
big
Yeah.
time. Mhm.
Wow. Don't erase it on your way across there.
Yes.
I had a girlfriend
Yeah.
that was a left-handed handwriter, and she was constantly looking for a pen that wouldn't smear as she pushed her hand across the
Yeah, you got
page.
to put a piece of paper under your hand.
Wow.
So I love this. There's so much twistiness going on here. And I love that the clock animals are the things that really that's like her line in the sand. Just
Right.
don't mess with those animals. Those things are my friends. That's
Right.
cool. That's really
It's
cool.
kind of like messing with the main person's dog.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
what you
so
know, like I love horror movies, but I really feel like um the family pet is really just like the horror movie version of a Star Trek red shirt. You know, like if
that's
you're a
right.
friendly dog, you're in a horror movie, you know you're going down.
Aliens are here. Get them, Fido. And then they zap them.
So then we've got, you know, the main quest or the chase for the Colt gun. Now you
Oh,
would
yeah.
want it to do like some survival. You would want it to do like a
Oh, right.
crash or like a because this could be like a city chase. They could run through like, you know, whatever your
Mm.
version of London is to
Oh,
do that.
but you see, it can start there, but then they're
Okay, okay.
forced into the wilderness, and that's
Oh,
when
I
it gets
love that.
gets intense, right? Because at that point, now you're not only surviving against man, you're surviving against nature.
And this is where you would thought you wanted an animal thought to be extinct or forgot about to come back. You know, there could be
Oh
potential for
wow.
that once they get in.
If that could be worked in, that would be tough. But actually, that would be part of the nature problem. You know,
Right, right, right. Well, once you get out into the wilderness, you can do whatever you want.
pretty much. Yeah.
Griffins, you know, had never done those.
That's right. Suddenly, the pilot can fly on Griffins.
So I think that this is great. So it starts in the city, and we're chasing around in whatever, you know, whatever city you is whatever the metropolis or the area,
Right. Right.
populated area, and then it goes out. Do you think it would go out in like airships or planes or with like land crawlers of some
Well,
kind?
I was thinking some kind of vehicle, ground vehicle.
Ground vehicle.
Yeah. That is, you know, awkward and fun and weird and maybe breaks down a lot.
Yeah, yeah, because and but he's like this MacGyver type character, so he's got that like Millennium Falcon ability to like, it breaks down a lot and then you like
Able to fix.
tinker with it
Yeah.
until it's fixed.
Yeah. Now, the question there is, do we go with male or female on protagonist?
Well, that's up to you. I felt like, we had all these women characters, and it was very, straight guy of me to assume that our character was a guy, but doesn't
Right.
necessarily have to be.
Yeah. Yeah, let's assume that. That's
Okay.
easiest part right now. It seems to be falling together that way. If we flipped it, I think it might
I mean,
make the guy just a typical
if
asshole.
if you made our protagonist a woman and kept all of these, strong women, you would have like the hottest lesbian romantasy
I was gonna
publishing has
go
ever
there.
seen. It
I
would
was
be,
I was gonna go there. I thought I better not.
oh man,
But
they would
yeah,
just run to buy this book.
yeah, but I would need a sensitivity reader.
You really would. You would need like yeah, I would need a gay
Woo.
guide
Yeah,
to write that for me.
I'd have to, yeah, definitely research that.
So okay, barring further research, we'll assume
Okay.
it's a guy. So
Yeah.
once
Yeah.
your research budget goes up, then you can hire
Yeah,
the
there we
sensitivity.
go. Wow. This is, I love the way this starts to just come into tension and story so quickly from just a
Yeah,
couple
remember
things.
you have a couple. It almost like it stacks up like on itself. And you remember they changed it now, but in the Amtrak station in New York and Penn Station, how they used to have that like board, that clicking board that would just go like,
No, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I
right?
love that thing.
And I sort of feel it gives me that feeling, that where you get these different facets and then they just
Yeah,
start to like click into
right.
place together.
They fall into place. That's right. Sorry.
Um,
Now it's boring at Penn Station. It's all
yeah, it's just
digital.
this is normal, right? Yeah, it's just boring, totally
Yeah,
boring. Doesn't do that thing anymore.
yeah.
Maybe you can work that into the vehicle or the map, and maybe the map can do that.
Ooh, oh, it's like folds like
Yeah, or when it
all the
gives you
things.
answers, it does that sort of like thing instead of getting the little spinning wheel from Apple,
That's
you get
right.
that Penn Station click effect.
And it changes the landscape of the map. So
Oh, yes.
like it
I
it can
love this map.
reform. Yeah, I know. It's pretty
There's
fun.
so many cool characters that aren't characters. Like you've got this ground vehicle could be like we said, could be like the Millennium Falcon has a personality, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All of these clockwork animals would become so endearing and amazing and would have their own personalities. We've got this map, which is like a character. We've got the Green
Oh,
Fairy, who is going to be every time she comes on the screen, like, the screen metaphorically, all the attention's going to go right to her.
right. And she's the voice of reason and information, and the character doesn't
Or she's
believe
the
that.
voice of like blow it all up, depending, but she's right. She's the
Yeah,
one that
she's right.
like,
Yeah. So when she does say blow it all up, he's even more uh, against it because it just sounds crazy. But she turns out to be
yeah, she turns out
correct.
to be right.
Yeah.
So that team, the good guy team, has a lot of color, very exciting and fun.
Yeah.
We've
So
got
there's a
the
lot of sentient beings.
yes, yeah.
Kind of cool.
hmm And
Okay.
then the one thing, and again, we don't have to do, we have our villain is still a little blurry,
Hmm.
our sort of like antagonist who is the explorer, tycoon, inventor. We're not sure, but we do know that he probably wants that gun pretty bad.
That's right.
Wasn't there a thing where he was on a mission for the crown? That was a no, that was a card that I cut actually, where he was going to be a secret was going to be he was
Yeah.
going to be on a mission for the crown. This
Right.
we could have your bad guy, explorer, tycoon, whatever, could be all like a double agent, could be working for an enemy nation or an enemy whatever. And
Right.
the search for this gun, like he could be a national hero, right? The bad guy could be like a Shackleton type figure who
Hmm.
actually is
It's
bad.
coming apart. Yeah.
You know,
And
he's got,
backed by massive amounts of money.
yeah, like whatever the version of like the Nazis are in your world, or like
Right.
the
Or
bad guys.
even today, the average billionaire is just a
Exactly.
bad guy.
So like on the front end, he looks like, he looks like
Right.
a national hero or a national
Right.
treasure.
Everybody loves him. Like at first, like an Elon Musk, and they love him.
Yeah,
And
He
people
said
are
that it
like,
turns out like,
what?
well, it starts to open his mouth and find out what a douchebag.
Exactly. Billionaires that could help solve problems and never feel it
Mhm.
and correct so many ills. But oh no,
Yeah, I could do
we have
this.
to go build a yacht, you know. Okay.
So this gun could do something cool. It could have different parts that they have to go and find, like the map room in the Well of the Souls. They have like, the gun could be in pieces or the plans could be in pieces. They're after
Oh,
the plans, then they find out there's a prototype. So it's not just about the plans, but there's like an actual one that got made. They've got to go. That like raises the stakes a bunch.
that's right. So they have to build the thing from parts that are dispersed
Yes, yeah, yeah, exactly.
or scattered or scattered in order to hide it so that no one
You
could
get
just
it.
steal it. Right.
Okay, all right. And then I imagine it would do something bad. Uh,
It
he,
kills green fairies, right?
oh,
No,
that would be
I'm teasing.
horrible. Oh
I
no.
know. Oh, maybe that's all right though.
Yeah, so I mean I don't even like we just met her like 10 minutes ago and I'm already crushed. That would be
Well, that would throw some tension in there.
that would be
Not
like,
that we haven't
yeah.
got any tension
That's like
already.
killing Obi-Wan Kenobi, you know what I mean? Like that where you just
Oh yeah,
like,
I know. Like the
what?
worst.
Oh man. But
Yeah.
if you actually did end up, if the gun turned out to be this like almost like is she magical? I don't know. Like you said, practical magic. The gun could
Right.
have the ability to sort of like cross that line and kill a character like her.
Right.
And if you
Right.
did do that, that would be a crushing twist to the story.
Right. Yeah. Or it just makes them drunk. No, too much absinthe. Um, but absinthe makes the heart grow
Oh, you did
fonder.
not.
Sorry,
Oh.
sorry.
Wait,
It's
somebody
just
says here, what if there are parts in the map animals? Meaning like in the clockwork animals, I think they mean. So
mm,
like you need to get rid of, oh, interesting. So we're saying
I see
maybe
where they're going.
someone is saying instead of like being helpful, the green fairy is actually like the crazy voice in this person, and they actually need to kind of like get rid of her or break up with her because she actually isn't. She's the one telling him to do dumb stuff and telling him to go off the rails, and he needs to actually like cut her off.
Right.
I love that too. Those are
Yeah,
two
I know.
very strong
Pretty
choices that you
cool.
can like
I
just.
do I do love the idea that an entity like that, it tells you crazy things, but ends up correct. Because
Yes, I
half
do
the
too.
time in the stories, they end up, just tormenting somebody until they kill themselves or whatever. They have to get over it. But, it'd be kind of cool if she was smart and then had to go. But anyway,
Yeah, so strong choices either way. Like that's the kind of thing you might want to like explore a little bit of this, and
right.
write the other version of that and see which one you like. What you got?
She does um, suggest crazy things. Sometimes they're right and sometimes they're not,
Okay, all right. So
which would be even scary.
she's like really unpredictable in that way. She's kind of like
Yes.
a wild card.
Yeah. She could be the wild card.
So
Huh.
we can keep going, or I feel like we may have
I
done it.
think I think we stacked a lot in there,
Yeah,
bud.
we really did. I mean, yes, there is like the plot points of the journey to find the gun parts and like
Hmm.
and the and the plot points of like fleshing out that bad guy, the big bad guy more, making him more
Hmm.
compelling
Yeah.
and giving him more of a relationship with the ex-lover or the rival. But that stuff you write like
Right.
with I would say in terms of how what I try to get done in one of these live streams or these workshops, like that's it. You got like a great scaffolding or a structure to go right the hell out of all of this.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I get the impression too that if those parts of the gun or whatever are found early in the so-called manuscript or work, then the rest is more of a character chase and problematic stuff instead
Yeah.
of instead of I'm not sure yet. Instead of delaying the finding of the parts.
Mhm. Or the gun, once they get it or put it together, doesn't do what it's supposed to do, or does something totally different.
Right.
And almost like,
That's good
you
too.
put it together thinking this is going to be like the magic bullet, and really it just turns out to make the problem bigger, or make the problem
Right.
different.
Right.
So like they think this is the end of their mission, but actually
Right.
it creates like the next
Yeah.
leg of
Yeah.
the mission.
That's kind of what I was trying to come up to in my
Yeah,
head. That it's something about doing that early and then the rest of it is problematic.
does something different. I'm very jealous of all of these twists. I love this. And I just,
Well, maybe we should write it together. There you go.
oh my God, you're so sorry that you said that. And
Yeah,
I'm
I know.
recording. You were so screwed now. Because I'm never going to leave you
Uh-oh.
alone.
Oh
Yes.
no. But it
You heard
does
it
sound
here
like
first,
fun.
folks.
It does sound like a lot of fun though. I mean, is screenplay, graphic
Yeah, yes,
novel,
totally.
although I'm looking for a straight novel
Mhm.
as a next approach. Uh,
That is totally a thing that is happening. That is very much come back out of the mothballs and is in full.
that last story we did too had an inventor. Um, that was the Timberline world as well.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, yeah, that's right. And then Snow
So,
Sentinels came out of me looking through your cards. Snow Sentinels is a short story in the Timberline world that I wrote for you. That is
oh,
part
that's
of
right. Yeah,
that
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. So,
That 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 for those listening, Greg's story, Snow Sentinels, is the first story of the anthology, the story anthology that I'm doing as part as like a companion to Psyche's release. So that it's been long delayed, and that really sucks. And I really hate that fact, but it is coming, I promise.
I
Um,
can't remember when I wrote it now. Was
yeah, it
that
was a
during the
while. It was
pandemic?
it
It was
was
before. Oh,
it was at
okay.
the end of the pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
All right. So before we go, I'm going to see if I
Yes.
can come back all the way to the beginning. There was someone who had a question. I wonder if we can impose upon you to just answer this person's question.
Okay.
Question. Did you ever find yourself in a position where you felt you had to walk away from a job because of creative differences or some other reason?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Like a bunch of
Oh, no
them.
kidding.
Yeah. I mean, over the years, and I've had a bunch of years now. So, but I never did unless I was kind of forced to. There was a job I worked on uh, with I'm not with, but at the same time as Dan DeSantos
Hmm.
for an Ambien CR drug. They were doing ads for that. And I won't go into it now, it's just too long, but we were both trying to do ads for the same people, and they were testing us out both out, and we didn't really know that we were both on that job, and
Oh,
they were just in freaking sane. They didn't understand a two-dimensional plane. They didn't understand
mm,
composition. They didn't understand. And I was banging my head against the wall thinking, how do I get out of this? How do I get out of this? And it turned out that they let me out of it because
okay.
I didn't live up to what they told me. I failed on the job because I did exactly what they told me to do. And I knew it wasn't working.
I've been
And
there. Mhm.
yeah. And they looked at it and went, well, they blamed it on me. I couldn't make their idea work. I was like, yay.
Yes, yeah.
And then there was another one I did for an alcohol company that I'm not kidding you, meeting after meeting after meeting, charcoal on paper. Do you know how many times you can erase charcoal on charcoal paper? I do, and it's not too many. But
Okay.
I erased that stuff. I had to keep changing the face, change the face, change the face. No, it doesn't look like the sketch. No, it doesn't look like the sketch. I literally projected the sketch and traced off the lines to get
Yeah.
them to say just like that, and they still hated it. And I showed them it's the same. Still hated it,
Yeah.
and I eventually came out as an ad in the subway, which I took
Hmm.
my picture next to as I will never do that again. But there's that part, where you're the professional. You took the work on, you agreed to do it, and you got to try to hang in there as long as you can before it gets sticky. I don't think I've ever gotten a kill fee without the client saying, you know what, this isn't what we want. We're giving you a kill fee. So I
And then you
never
just move
really
on.
had to bow out, even though I wanted to on several.
Well, I,
Even in the early years, it was paint like this guy. And I'm like, I don't want to paint like that guy.
yeah, yeah. I hope that person is still with us and that they heard their question get answered. But otherwise, listen, any of you still left, those of you in the chat watching, if they like and subscribe for my channel would be so, so helpful. Please consider subscribing, giving this one a little like, because it really makes a big difference when you try to grow something like this so that we can do more of them. And a
Yeah.
huge thank you to you, Greg, for coming out for this.
Yeah.
This was,
And you, look, I have a story I can
yeah.
into.
Mhm.
Are you gonna take a shot of those notes or
Yep, I'll text it right over to you. Yes.
okay,
And then
cool.
we've got this one recorded too, so
Oh,
you'll have that
oh,
as
that's
well.
right. I want to watch the old one now again and see how much
We didn't
younger you
record it.
were. What? You do,
We
right?
didn't record it. Remember we did when we were done, we were like, oh man, we didn't record that. We should have recorded it.
Oh, so you got smarter along the way. That's
I've
important.
gotten a little smarter along the way.
Oh, that's too
So
bad. That was fun.
yeah, I'm really glad you had fun because I had a great time and I love this. And yeah,
It's amazing. I get nervous every time we start to go into this. I'm thinking, oh no, I'm going to sound like an idiot. But
and then
your
when you're in it,
cards,
you're just flying, right? You just got
right, right.
that.
It's
So,
great.
so thank you again for doing this, and thank you everybody that decided to join us for this.
Thanks,
Good to
everybody,
talk to you,
and
my friend. I'll
you
talk to you
too.
soon.
Thanks again, Claire.